Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Teach Different podcast. We're back in action with a very interesting quote today. The author is going to be anonymous. We don't exactly know who the author is. It's one of those quotes that when you dig into it, you're not able to find anyone that it can be clearly attributed to. But it's on, I don't know, I think leadership is going to be a good theme on this one that we're going to get to in a minute. It's got a great metaphor to it. Our guest today, again, coming back for more, is Jarvis Funches, and we're so happy to have him back. This is, gosh, is this the fourth or fifth podcast?
Fifth.
I'm the fifth. And Jarvis has a rich history with Teach Different and is one of the inspirations behind this organization to begin with. So we're just excited and so glad to have him back. Doing the method that is changing people's lives in amazingly cool ways.
For sure.
We'll do this quote, and then we're going to do our claim and our counterclaim, bantered around back and forth, ask some questions, engage in deep thinking, connect to personal experiences. So many different ways these conversations can go, but ultimately they end up hopefully making us think deeper about life, about ourselves, and about connecting with each other. And that's why we're here. It has mental health and academic benefits, this kind of communication, and it can really bridge the divides in our world. Here we go. I'll read it twice, and then Jarvis, you can always have the first crack at it and just come on in and see what you think.
Right.
Even a sheep must learn to lead the flock someday. Even a sheep must learn to lead the flock someday. Jarvis, what do you think? What's on your mind?
I feel like this quote, it means to me, very much that you should sit back and you should learn from your leaders, and not only your leaders, your peers too, because you never know when your shot is going to be up. And not only just in various ways, not in just terms of your own life, but in terms of in working, in terms of sports, and in terms of many other fields. Like this topic could very much go many ways, but just off of my excuse me, let me correct my words. Off of my thinking, I believed that this would be that I should sit back and I should really let someone be a mentor to me so I could learn how to operate, and so I could be able to operate under the best abilities. So that's what I kind of took from it. I don't really got too much to argue about it with, because it's kind of like, but that's what I kind of came up.
The good quotes don't feel like they have any counterclaim, right?
Yeah.
Any argument. When you hear it, you just say, there's some truth, right? And then you dig a little bit, and then it's like uncovering a treasure that
Right.
there's way more behind this somewhere. And there's also another way to look at the world, etc. You said that you mentioned mentor.
Yeah.
Jarvis, this idea that you can get a mentor, you can find a mentor who can then build you up to be a leader, because I guess, are you saying that you might need to be a leader at some point? And look, you're a sheep, I'm a sheep, we're all sheep. We're all like not the president of the United States.
Let me put this into terms so I can explain it better. Okay, I got LeBron James, right? Okay, and I'm a rookie, right? I want to be around LeBron James as much as I need to be, is because guess what? It's so much to soak up and there's so much to learn from him, because he's such a great player and he's such a great at this task. So why wouldn't I sit back and just let him mentor me and just soak all that in instead of not doing it? Like he's a Hall of Famer. Who wouldn't want that type of wisdom, And I feel like if you do get that wisdom, you'll be better off. I mean, 10 times better off. You need to learn from other people. Just like we always say, you can learn from others' mistakes. You also can learn from other people corrections in life. You can learn from that, and you just got to be willing to sit back and let people mentor you, and just pour into your cup. And you got to be willing to listen and understand. And that's why I feel like you should really sit back and let somebody mentor you, because you never know. Like I say, you never know when LeBron might have to sit down. And all the things that he taught you, it's time for you. No, And now you could put that to work, and now he can see that what he taught you is paid off, and you get to get the blessings from those too. Because man, look, all I did was listen, and look, he told me it was gonna play out for me, and it played out for me. You know.
I love that. That's you took the mentoring angle and the education angle with it. Like, be
Yeah.
open to someone else's guidance, to a role model.
You know.
Dan, did you take that? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jarvis.
No, I was just saying, yeah, that's correct. That's
Is that
exactly what
is that good? I didn't even see the mentoring education part of it. I'm already opened
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that's an interesting angle. Even a sheep must learn to lead the flock someday. The way I kind of looked at this is, well, a sheep is a follower, right? I'm kind of getting the metaphor here, and a flock. So you have a sheep herding system where you got the leader, the shepherd, and then the sheep are the followers. And this is saying a sheep, which I guess is a follower, must learn how to lead the flock someday. So if you're a follower, you should always be trying to think about becoming that leader and not only being a follower to others. Maybe be that mentor, Jarvis. If you're being mentored, you should want to be a mentor to others.
exactly.
And that's important to keep that in mind, to always have that as an option in your future.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And just like you said with the shepherd and how we are being sheep and how we're following, I mean, we're once, like you said, when we get that opportunity, we need to learn how to run the flock how the shepherd was. But if I'm not paying attention to the shepherd, I will never understand how he has authority and control over the sheep like I'm trying to have. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean by the mentor. He's my mentor. When I pay attention to him and how he runs things and how he's obligated, how he's maneuvering through things, okay, I see how he's doing it. I need to do it that way, because if I try my own way, maybe it'll fail, or maybe it'll take me a longer time to get to where he at. But if I just sit back and just peep, okay, this is what the shepherd's doing. Okay, this is how the shepherd's feeding us. This is how the shepherd got us going left and right. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then when it is your turn, you want to have such a hustle to do it or to be a leader. You know what I mean? And that's what
Yeah.
you have to be willing to understand, because a lot of people are ignorant, or they let their ignorance block them away from, just taking in that wisdom,
Yeah. Yeah. They want to be led their whole life. I don't know if that's kind of what you mean by ignorance.
No,
Jarvis, what do you mean by that?
what I mean by ignorance is that I feel that I know it already. Okay, you guys are my shepherd. You guys have way more wisdom than me. But when you come to pour that wisdom into my cup, I'm acting as if I already know, but I don't act,
I see.
and I'm not moving like I already know. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this is coming to tell me, like, Jarvis, you picking up that pen and poking a hole in the wall is wrong. But I'm acting like I know. I know that's wrong. Yeah, I already know. But why are you doing that if you know?
Yeah.
That's the ignorance part that I'm trying to say. So you have to just sit back and be open to your mentors.
Yeah.
And don't be ignorant to knock away their wisdom. Like, be open to it. Everybody don't operate the same way, and maybe sometimes your wisdom may do sound a little off to me. But if I just sit back and just listen, and pick the good from the bad out of it, then maybe I'll be all right. So
I'm
that
loving that. I got this picture now, Jarvis, of this big sheep grazing on a hill, or a bunch of them, right? And they could sit there and just eat all day. Get fat, and then they got to get fleeced every month or so. That's probably uncomfortable, but you really don't have to do too much, right? The dogs are taking care of you. They're making sure there's no wolves. You could have a life of ignorant bliss where you're not really caring or wanting more. Or like you're saying, I think you could watch the shepherd. You could check, like you said, peep the system, see what the dogs are doing to make sure that the sheep are herded. See what that shepherd is doing when he comes out with his scissors and he's fleecing everything and he's going to the market to sell this stuff. What's going on here? Because if the shepherd isn't there someday, someone's going to need to step up And am I kind of catching you here?
Yeah. Who's going to be that guy to step up? It's typically going to be the dogs or another shepherd. But who's to know that they won't call on you? So my of this quote is basically you have to be open to wisdom. Okay, let me get straight to the point. You got to be open to learning and open to wisdom, because you never know when it's your chance to be up to lead, and you don't want to be picked or be chosen to lead and don't know how to lead. So just like my grandfather, he's the head of the household, so he'll be our shepherd, right? Okay, cool. But I'm the oldest son of the family. So when Papa leave, I will be the shepherd. If I'm not watching Papa and seeing how Papa is operating and sharing his love with the family and being a man and taking care of things, then I won't know how to be a man
There you
and love
go.
family like Papa did. So that would cause my family and my flock to break apart, because I don't know how to maintain my flock.
Right.
I wasn't paying attention when it wasn't my turn to maintain the flock. That's what I'm basically trying to
I
get.
love that.
Is that you have to pay attention, because you never know when you'll be called. Like this, it could go in so many terms, but I just put it in that family term because
Yeah.
the listeners, or people that's watching it, can understand more. Like, just pay attention to those role models in your family, because like when they're gone, it never know. It might do be
Yeah.
your, but when it be your chance, you don't want to step up and not know what to do. You know.
That's. I mean, Dan, what do you think of that? I get it now. I know where he's coming from.
Yeah, I'm ready to fly into the counterclaim. Actually,
Well, just
can I fly into the counterclaim?
yeah. Why don't you? Because you've been peeping, you've been observing, so now you can come up with a counterclaim.
Yeah, even a sheep must learn to lead the flock someday. But what if the sheep doesn't have the attributes to be a leader? So I think what this assumes, this is where I'm going with this. It assumes that the sheep could lead the flock someday by watching people, everything that you were saying, Jarvis and Steve. In a perfect world, that might work. But what if the sheep does not have the qualities of a leader, and they push themselves into a position of being a leader, but is not in the right role? That might happen, right?
Yeah, that might happen, and this has happened before. That's why you have great emperors and you have the bad emperors. People that don't have the attributes to be rulers, like you say, and become rulers, and it becomes a tragic show. And that counterclaim is that, man, like, you know what? I really don't even have anything to say, because that's tough. Like, if you don't have the attributes, you're not the guy.
Yeah.
So,
And you can study as much as you want. Like, even a sheep must learn to
like
lead
Kobe,
the flock. Because Michael said, you can wear my shoes, but you can never fill them.
never feel them. You see what I'm saying? So I go back to what
Yeah.
Dan said. You could be chosen, but you just don't have the attributes. And when that comes along, then that's a tragedy, unless you got a supporting team around you. But in this case, we just speaking about a particular person. So that's a tragedy situation, because you don't have the attributes. You don't have what it takes to be a leader. You know what it takes to be a leader, but you just don't have it to be a leader. So in that case,
Yeah.
and I did.
That's a counterclaim.
But in life, like they say, it's levels to life, and life is made to be the way it is. It's made for rich people to be rich. It's made for middle class people to be middle class. It's made for poor people to be poor. Because if everybody was rich, like Dan was saying, if everybody was rich, then shit, like you were saying, Mr. Fouts, then we all be just sitting on the hill, eating grass, getting fat, getting shaved, But
Yeah.
who would have control then in the world?
Yeah.
Who would have a say so? They're like, so I really can't even go against that. That's like one of the toughest counterclaims I ever ran into since I've been doing Teach Different. Like, that's a mind blower, because,
Have
man,
you ever, Jarvis, sorry to interrupt, but have you ever had someone that was let's just say, leading you or over you. Think about, when you were a kid or whatever, you got into like different peer groups and you got into situations where there was kind of some type of leader. Do you ever remember one where you looked at him and you're like, this is not someone I respect and I want to follow?
Oh man, yeah. Actually, growing up, and as I said back many podcasts before, I had troubles and difficulties, in life. So long story short, being outside, one guy had a higher rank than me, and this guy was just a buffoon. Like this guy is just not the guy. Like, come on, man. Like, is you serious? And it got to the point where, like I always said, like I said before, it became a tragedy show because you put this guy in a position to be a leader, but this guy don't have the attributes. Yeah, he sat back and watched you all day. Yeah, he did, but he still doesn't have the qualities and the qualifications to be a leader.
What was he missing? What was he missing?
Man, this guy was missing leadership, communication, late. Come on, man, like a buffoon, get everything out of order. Come on, man, like this is not how people lead, man. Come on, like this is not how people lead, and you expect me to follow this guy? Come on, man, stop it, knock it off. And that's where it becomes a tragedy because now I'm rebelling against even following you. I don't even want to follow you. Like, stop it. You don't even have the qualifications. Like, come on, man. Like, stop it. This is like going in the doctor's office and letting the dude do surgery on you that never even got a diploma or a bachelor's degree for going to a nursing school. You're not even let this man touch you, man. Stop it, please. Like, come on, next. Like, that's come on, man. Like, all right, man, don't even get me started, Mr. Fouts.
Well, look, I already jumped in with the essential question. You could even argue, what's great leadership? Because that's what's becoming interesting right now, listening to you, because it seems so clear. When I asked you, have you ever had someone above you that just, shouldn't have been a leader? And you're like, oh yeah. And it was just clear as day.
The greatest to me ever that I ever been around in life always treated themselves equal. And what I mean by equal is that they never, even though they knew that they had the power, the qualifications, and they knew that they was in charge, they always acted equal. They always acted humble.
Humble. Yeah.
Humble leaders are the greatest because people will follow you because you humble. You don't make yourself seem too high to reach, and you don't make yourself too low to be around. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You're humble. You're very welcoming when people come around. You're very communicating. You on time to things. You're man, like you got everything in order. Like those type of leaders are very disciplined, but they're humble. Like, and I'm pretty sure you met guys like that. Like that's top ranking, but come around and just act like they just like it's nothing. Nonchalant to the fact that you pulled up in a Ferrari outside. He happy to see you in your brand new Honda Accord more than he, those are the leaders that you want to be around because they're happy. They're more happy to see their team winning than them winning. See, when my team winning, then I'm winning. That's what makes me a great leader, making my team win. That's what makes me win. But if I'm not winning and my team losing, just like Dan say, he's not the guy. He got to go. Come on, man. Like it's like basketball, man. If he ain't the point guard to run our team, he got to go. Don't worry about it. We'll do a couple of trades and a couple of flips, but we'll get the guy here. And that's where you come in at, man. But you got to be humble, disciplined, and fierce. But be humble, though. You have to be humble. Like, man, nobody's want to.
Yeah. There's a balance, Jarvis. There's a balance I've always been fascinated with, because I got a lot of my teaching in the same neighborhoods that you grew up in. You got the authentic experience because you lived and you grew up there. And I just kind of came in after I got my degrees. And you know what I'm saying? Like but that whole, I don't know how to put it. It's that humility. The thing that impressed me the most about the young people that had the most juice, I guess, or respect was this humility that they had, but they did have a fierceness to them. And when I say fierce, I'm going to say they could check people. People respected them, and they kind of intimidated them sometimes, or they were intimidated by them sometimes. So that always was interesting to me. Like, how is it that you can be humble, but people don't view it as a weakness? They are respecting you on a high level, but you're humble. I, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does that happen?
Sure. Never, ever take my kindness for weakness. That's always assertive where I'm from. Just because I'm nice, just because I would give you the shirt off my back, doesn't mean I would not. Let's keep it family wise, okay? And when you set those boundaries with people, like I could come around you and play all day, man, but I could tell in your face, seriously, if we take it there, then there will be consequences for sure. But I'm most down to earth guy. We can have fun all day. And once you understand that, and once we have an understanding, then that's when that fears come in at. Like you know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by being a humble and a fierce leader. Yes, you can be humble. Yes, you can kick it with your other people. Yes, you can kick it with people that's lower than you. You know what I'm saying? But they also have to understand that I am him. Yeah, I am him. But we could kick it. But I'm him at the same time. And that's what stopped people from playing with you. You know what I'm saying? And sad to say, that's just how the world have to be. It has to be like that, or else you will be either a doormat, or people will forever say that you're mean because you don't let people run over you. But you know, stand on what I believe in firmly. I'm not gonna let you disrespect me. I'm not gonna let you play with me like I wouldn't play with you. So let's just keep it cordial. That's just how it is, you know. It's
Dan,
just...
what do you think of that? Like, how? What do you think?
What specifically?
The traits, I guess. You know how you started in and said what if the sheep doesn't have the attributes to be a leader? And you know, they shouldn't be worried about trying to lead a flock and shouldn't even spend their time doing it. They need to work on being a follower. You know what I'm saying? Some people need to get better at that. Yeah.
Right. I would just, to the quote, even a sheep must learn to lead the flock someday. Whoever wrote this is making a grand assumption that any follower should be a leader. And I think that I think that the counterclaim, the better wisdom is understand who you are and find the place in a system for which you're best suited. That
find your role
is really important.
Yeah, so many words you saying, hey, understand your role, play your role, and the shock.
And be okay with it. Be the best follower you can be, knowing you don't have those attributes that you were talking about, Jarvis, and Steve, you were talking about. Be okay with being on the team, but not having to be in charge. I mean, that's equally important.
Be okay being a role player. Be okay. Right. Be okay with being a teammate. Everybody's not fit for leading. And we see that every day. And I mean, like, and what you're saying, like, to the podcast or to the listeners and to people that's listening in, we're not telling you that you're not built to be a leader. But what we're trying to get people to understand is that understand who you is and understand your capabilities, and don't put too much on you that you can't bear, because you can put yourself in tragic situations to where the situation it's uncomfortable for you, and it's you're not benefiting from it. You know, and it's role, and it's shockingly to say that, Dan, you're very much right. You know, certain people are meant to be followers. That's just the way life is.
And I'll go ahead and rescue the claim for all of us. Having said all that, which I am kind of like thinking counterclaim right now, but I'm going to flip back and say, that's not to say that whoever you are, to not pursue knowledge and wisdom and learning, because you do never know yourself. And there might be a leader in you that you may not see at the moment when you're, 16, or even when like you're 25 and you're used to just having bosses around, right? Sure. Don't give up on you being someone who can step out there, take a chance, and lead your own flock someday. Don't ever settle for that. It's just that we're saying, I think, in the counterclaim is don't feel pressured and don't feel like you got to get up and go lead and do a role that you're not suited with as well. So maybe I'm getting an essential question going here. Like, how do you know? Yeah, go ahead.
In the self-knowledge, the important thing is the self-knowledge to know who you are and where you fit. And I agree, Steve. I think it depends on the stage of your life. Leave yourself open to learning from mentors, and maybe you can go into that position. I agree. Back to the claim. That makes sense.
Jarvis, what were you going to say?
That's just like you and Dan is saying. It's absolutely right. Never stop pursuing the knowledge. So my question to be this to people: when do you know that you have enough knowledge to lead? That'll be my question to all my
There you
listeners.
go. There
That's
you go.
great, Jar. Oh my gosh,
That's
I love
beautiful.
Because in a way, because what we're saying is here is that we're not telling you that you're not a leader. That for sure we're not saying that. But there's a time and a place for everything. So you're not a leader now doesn't mean you can't be a leader in the future. But on your way to being a leader, pick up the most knowledge that you can. So when it is your time, or if it is your time, you can be the best leader that you can be. But the question is, when do you know, and you
Yeah.
know personally, when you have enough knowledge to be suitable to take on that leadership role?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, not that we don't have to answer the essential questions, but I got to go a little bit here. You don't know. And you have to put yourself in that position to reveal it.
Yeah, experience.
Be a buffoon.
Hey, you gotta be a buffoon sometimes. But look, hey, I could truly say though, some of the greatest leaders come from being one of the greatest followers. I can truly say that though.
I'm with you.
I can truly say that though. So, like they always say, and like some and most of the greatest leaders ever say, hey, failure is if failure is your best friend. Never be scared to fail, because when you fail, you learn from your failure, and guess what? You try again, and you got a little bit more knowledge that you didn't have before. You know?
Yeah.
I got
love it,
another
man.
quote that I think we have in our library that was attributed to Abraham Lincoln. I've since learned that Lincoln did not say it, and I can't remember who did, but it's this: if you really want to test a person's character, give him power.
Wow.
Until someone has the power, you don't know what character traits are going to be revealed.
Do you know that I love that quote? So, man, like,
Have we done that yet? Have we done a podcast on that yet?
I don't know.
but that is, man, like, that is so mind blowing. Like, for real, like, just give the person the power and you will truly see who this person is. Like, I know everybody go through this on an everyday basis, or with just certain things, certain people, certain companies, certain places that you're trying to get into, that they have authority, that they not, like, man, it'd be crazy. It's crazy. It's mad crazy, because this person could have a certain amount of authority and they could be a total butthead.
Yeah.
And God can change the tables to where this person has no authority at all, and you have the authority, or somebody else has the authority, and this person becomes a total sweetheart. Like, you never saw this part of this person before,
Yeah.
because God has destroyed the ego.
Yeah.
Now you have to live with the reality version of yourself. And that's why it's so mind-blowing to me. Like, wow, like, if a lot of people destroyed their ego, could you really even live with yourself? The reality version, the real version of you, not this buffoon version you got in your brain. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God,
That's
crazy.
going to be a struggle for a lot. Revealing who you are when you get the power, it's a quick one. You just,
Man,
you're going to find out quick.
people do change. People do change.
Well,
Wow.
I held off on the Plato stuff, but I got to say at least 10 seconds here. I want to not leave this symbolism of sheep, dogs, shepherds, shepherding, and all this stuff. I want to get some quotes later where we go more in depth into that. And Jarvis, I'll just share this. Dan already knows. Plato, this philosopher Plato, he uses shepherding as a way to talk about leaders and followers, and how his belief is that there actually is natural leadership ability found in nature that is only in certain people, whereas other people are better off, playing different roles, being followers, etc. And he compares it to some people are sheep, some people are dogs, little bit more authority with the dog, right? And then some people are shepherds. And what you need to do in your life is figure out what you're closest to and figure out how to play that role. And society will be better once it has the right people in the right roles. And until that happens, it's going to be chaos. And yes.
But there are opportunities to become educated and move to different roles,
correct,
given experiences and your knowledge and your
learning.
self-knowledge.
Yep.
But there has to be a process. It's not like, oh, I want to be a leader. I was a sheep, but I'd love to now lead the flock. It's not that easy.
No.
No. Gonna work.
No. But anyway, we can get into it later.
Yeah.
But it's a really rich parable to use.
Yeah, this is definitely not the last one on leadership that we will do.
Crazy.
Well, all right. Well, this is great. I thought your question, Jarvis, was a showstopper. That's fantastic. I can't wait to see that one. Mic drop moment. It was great. Even a sheep must learn to lead the flock someday. Author unknown. Whoever said this, thank you, because we've now talked about it, and now it's going to be put out there for so many people, and there's a lot to learn from this. And it was a joy, Jarvis. Thanks again for coming on. And you're going to be a frequent flyer on the Teach Different podcast.
Yeah, you already are.
And tell my podcast listeners and my viewers out there, man, listen. The question is, when do we know we got enough knowledge to even be leaders? And what I mean by that is like really, really be honest with yourself. Like, is I'm in a good predicament to be a leader right now? Or should I be a follower right now? And in my granddaddy words, hey, look, it's okay to eat a little dirt because later on we're gonna be eating steak. So
love it.
Love it.
Thank you for that one.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And take care. And we'll see you soon on the Teach Different podcast.
Take care.